hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. The claws in my heart, I can't let go, I'm breaking apart, controlling me, controlling Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sunday edition of the Paranormal Portal Bedtime Stories From Beyond. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday, end of the weekend, but the beginning of the New Year holiday. I don't know, it's just tomorrow's New Year's Eve. We're starting 2019, ladies and gentlemen, so I hope you're ready. And tomorrow night, we'll be doing a 3-hour portal fun into the new year. We'll be starting at 9 p.m. Pacific and working our way till midnight Pacific. So when we start, it'll be New Year's all the way up to the end. Everybody will be experiencing New Year's here in the U.S. And to all of you abroad, of course, we're wishing you all a New Year celebration as well. But that's tomorrow night. But I hope you're ready for tonight because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is our Sunday edition of the Bedtime Stories from Beyond, and we're going to be covering some cool encounter stories tonight. I hope they're cool anyway. I guess we'll find out when we get to them. But yeah, so tomorrow night we're going to be doing our New Year's portal fun for 3 hours, starting at 9 Pacific, 10 Pacific, 11 Pacific, 12 Pacific, and then we're going to cut off just after 12. Of course, we're going to welcome you into the new year on our time, and then bid you a fine good evening, I guess. But I mean, look, you know, you can go out and hang out in the clubs and pay way too much money, and except for Haxter's Club, that'd be a cool place to go, and I'd love to sit at his bar any night of the week. But otherwise, you know, you're dealing with a bunch of clowns, a bunch of drunk idiots, and you know, why not hang out with drunk idiots right here on the show? Because Don and I will be tipping it for you. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, so, you know, it's the whole thing. You can hang out with strange drunk idiots or drunk idiots that you know and love. So I don't know how it'll all work out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just pulling this together on the fly, but I just thought, well, that'd be kind of cool. Bringing the new year on the portal since, you know, the portal's been such a big part of my year and how it's grown and developed. So why not start 2019 on the air? That'd be cool. So we're going to do that tomorrow night, so let's get into our stories tonight. Thank you to all of you who are in the chat room and coming in as we speak. I see Lewis, Haxer, Gentry Coda. Hi, Skippy. Good to see you, Skippy. Diana. Lady Death is in here, so we are covered on the mod end. I don't know if Pixie's in here or not, but let's see. Who haven't I said? I've said hello to a bunch of people, but looking. Um, have I said everybody? Kurt's here. Good. Good to see Kurt. I'm just scrolling through the list to see. Oh, Terrestrial Mac. Nice to meet you, Terrestrial Mac. I don't know if I met you before or not, but if I have, I'm really sorry. I'm like, I don't know. I'm stupid with names. So forgive me if I've already met you, but the way my long-term recollection works, this may be the first time. So if not, I do apologize. Or if you have a new chat name, or if I don't know you by this. Oh, Omi Nalani, thank you for being here. Just came in the door. So you guys are still coming in. And it's a pleasure to have you all here with us tonight. So let's get into some of these tales and these stories and stuff and see what you guys think. But I got a bunch of them pulled up. I'm not sure how long it'll take. Some of these are a little long, not too bad, but most of them seem like they're pretty reasonable as far as length. So I'm going to try to get through all of them because I just feel like spending more time with you guys tonight. I hope you don't mind spending time with me. But, some of them, I don't know. Maybe we'll start reading them and they'll be just stupid and we won't know how to finish them. That's always an option. I do retain constructive or creative. I do retain creative license with what I read on the show. So if it's like going nowhere, it's like, done. I don't do that very often, though, because I like to read all kinds of accounts. So the first one tonight is a little bit longer, but let's read this one. And this is from 2007 out of the state of Tennessee here in the U.S. And it is, when I was about 12, maybe 13, which is about a year ago. I'm 14 now. I was in the kitchen eating a blueberry muffin. I read this one last night. My God, I'm terrible with this. I'm so sorry. I didn't close it. All right, the next one I'm going to read you is also from 2007 from Pennsylvania. God, I got to get my stuff together. Holy man. All right. I'd like to share a dream, and this is kind of cool because last night we spent quite a bit of time discussing dreams on the show, and we had a great discussion, and thank you to all of you who participated on that show last night and on Friday's show as well. It was a lot of great discussions over these last two shows, and I just was in my heyday because I love the participation. To me, the portal is the most fun when you guys are right in there participating with me and bringing your ideas to the table. That, to me, is the most exciting part of doing the show. So these last two shows, you guys were right there with me, and you guys were absolutely right on it. You guys were right on point with all of what you were saying and bringing to the show, whether through calls or through emails or whatever. So thank you all for that. But this one is a dream one, and the reason I pulled this up is because we did spend so much time last night discussing dreams, which are cool. So let's get into this one. This one sounds like it could be dark, but we'll see. I haven't read it ahead of time, so I'm reading it with you and not to you. So I'd like to share a dream that I had. I can't remember all of the details, but it happened months ago. But it really creeped me out, yet made me a stronger believer in religious faith. In my dream, I only remember that I was working on my computer and I was about to shut it off for the night, and you know how you can see your reflection in the blank monitor? Well, instead of seeing my own reflection, I saw the face of a devil, like it was trying to take me over. I can't remember much more about the dream except that the devil was stalking me, and I could not escape it. It would not let up on me, and I was becoming very weak to it, until I used the words, "In the name of Jesus Christ, leave me alone." And that was it. What's really crazy is that I have never really heard this expression in real life because I wasn't really brought up religiously and can count on both hands the number of times I went to church. It's just really strange. So I'm convinced that this encounter was with the devil. I'm not sure why, though. On the other hand, I think it was an angel or a servant of God maybe, or something good that came to save me and told me these words to use. I told my mother some of the dream, who was brought up as a Roman Catholic and is still pretty religious, and she said she's had similar experiences. And all I had to do is say, "In the name of Jesus Christ, go away." She told me to say this before I even finished the whole story, and before I even told her that I did finally say something to that effect. I was just wondering if anyone else had any experience like this, or if anyone could interpret what mine means. I would also like to note that I'm only 18 and I don't do drugs, I don't drink, and I was completely of sound mind when this occurred. Also, about the devil attacking those who are weak, I've always been physically weak. I only weigh literally 100 pounds and I'm about 5 foot 6 inches tall. And I'm also emotionally weak. I'm a very emotional person, and although I'm not diagnosed, I think I have depression. I am also a very shy person and have been my whole life. I just thought I'd share that in case it helps anyone interpret my dream. Well, and this was written, looks about like by a female. I guess some of that makes sense. Not that females are weak. God, let me quantify that before I I end up getting cyber smacked here. But I think that a lot of beings prey on weakness. I think that is accurate, and they look for weakness, whether it's of character, of substance, as this person stated, or health, or perhaps even spiritual conviction or practice. The thing about faith is that it is powerful because you believe it's powerful. It's not, in my opinion, and again, I'm not degrading any religious practice. I think they're all beautiful, but in my opinion, it is the faith of the believer that makes it powerful or makes it weak. And it's something I've shared on the show a few times. And that is also why I think that things like exorcisms can go really sideways, is because you are dealing with someone else taking on your spiritual struggle, or someone you care about spiritual struggle. So these representatives of whatever faith they believe are stepping in and interceding from a quote unquote holy place or by divine right. But if the practitioner himself or herself is corrupt of soul, of spirit, of practice, everybody has skeletons in their closet. But if a person believes that they are not really clean in the eyes of God, can they truly project the authority of God, Or can they will do it in practice, they will do it physically, but are they doing it with the full conviction of what would be a strong faith? Or do they have guilt and feelings of inequity that may interfere with their ability to successfully push out some kind of invading spirit? So it's possible. In this case, I've had similar dreams, and they were equally as powerful, if not more so, than what he's talking about here. I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm a quote unquote Christian. I'm not quote unquote anything. I know I have an extraordinarily strong spirituality and connection to what I believe is my divine parent, creator, guardian, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know of a name that fits what my belief is. But I had these kind of dreaming confrontations years ago, and a similar thing where I just proclaimed, a state of righteousness, and it fled. It was gone. So maybe these things happen more than others. I don't know. I don't know. I can only guess. This is one of the only other examples of this kind of thing that I've heard personally, even though it's through a submitted story to a message board. But I do believe that it's true. I do believe that what this person experienced was a real experience of spiritual significance. Now, was it actually a devil? I don't know. I don't know if it was, are these things, could they be just symbolic? Could it be their own feelings of falling away from a path of goodness and possibly being at risk of going a negative place in their life, and this is a symbology that manifests in a dream state that the person needs to confront in order to fix their life? I don't know. I mean, it's all on the table, and it's all possible, and it's all, relevant, but it doesn't, I guess it only matters what it means to the experiencer. What they experience is, what makes it a profound spiritual message or not. It's really, That's the one thing about religion and faith is that it's all up to the person practicing it. Practicing it. I don't know. But I again, I never want to offend anybody, but I feel that, I do like to state my opinions on this because I don't want anyone to feel that I'm promoting nor degrading any kind of practice at all. These are just my thoughts. I'm still on a journey just like everyone else. I don't have this stuff all dialed in or figured out, but I'm working on it. So that was a good story, though. I like that one. The next one I'm going to read you is called, it comes out of 2007 out of the state of Ohio. And so this is in Dee's neighborhood, Diane Swager's neighborhood. And she's told us many times how absolutely spooky Ohio is. And I got to tell you that there's truth to that. Something's going on in that state. I don't know if it's, what is the factors that make Ohio so off the charts for lots of different activity. I mean, they have a lot of dogman sightings there and reports. They have a lot of Bigfoot sightings and report. The Ohio Grassman they got their own version of Bigfoot where they're finding these big grass nests out in the middle of nowhere that appear to be accommodating some large being. There's a large amount of Bigfoot activity there. There is a ton of spiritual activity there with hauntings and a lot of things going on in that sense, and a lot of UFOs. So it's like they got the whole chart covered there in Ohio. And I don't know what's going on over there in Ohio, Dee, but you guys have got some serious activity. So let's read this story. For a couple of weeks, I've been feeling my old cat's presence. She was a beautiful black cat, and she's been dead for over 4 years now. I got 2 more cats, and last night, at exactly 3:34 a.m., I woke up because the lights were on in my home. I got scared, so I prayed to God to put an angel at my bedroom door, and I looked out the bathroom door, and I saw a cat. I first thought that it was my kitten, and I called to him, but he disappeared into thin air. I looked again, and there was my dad's old cat, and he's been dead for maybe 2 years. I got really scared at the time, and I ran downstairs to where my mom was sleeping, and I told her everything. She believed me because she once saw a ghost herself. I once was playing upstairs with my kitten, and he started to go crazy. I thought maybe he saw our old cat's ghosts, but so I'm not afraid now. I'm glad. And there again, ladies and gentlemen, do our pets stick around? Are they always with us? Are they always kind of holding vigil? I hope they are. I really do. I think that's a beautiful thought, that once you have a pet that loves you, that pet is going to be by your side, no matter what, until the time when it's your turn to cross or go home or whatever you want to call it. So I think that's a beautiful thought. And my mom swears that her old dog, which has been dead for a decade now, still jumps up on her bed and paces around till he finds his spot to lay down. And it was what he always did in life. So she still experiences that to this day. And she and this dog were very, very close. They had a really cool bond. But, yeah, it's just, are they still there? Are they still guarding over us? Do they become our spirit animals after they pass? And I believe that there's a strong possibility for that. At least it's a really wonderful idea. At the very least, it's a really wonderful idea that they're still around. They're still with us. So let's get to the next one, shall we? All right. This one is from 2007 out of the great state of Wisconsin. All right. I haven't had too many experiences with spiritual stuff, but a lot of people who I know have had a bunch. There are just a few things that I'd like to share just to see what you guys think. I'm convinced there's a spirit of some sort living in my dad's house. He's not sure if there is one or not, but sometimes when he comes home at night, the pictures on top of his TV are moved around. He lives alone, so no one else is in the house to move him. Sometimes when I'm over there, I will see a flash of light go by for no apparent reason. He sees it as well, and we don't know what it is, though. This is what scared me more than anything. A while ago, he needed a new water heater, and he had no idea where to get one, what they looked like, what size to get, or anything. He was absolutely clueless. He racked his brain to figure out what he should do, what he should get, and he had no idea. And one day, he went into the basement to practice on his guitar. My dad is a musician and spends most of his time in the basement recording. And when he went down there, right in front of him was a water heater, the exact one that he needed. Neither of us had any idea where it could have come from. Again, I say he lives alone, so there is no one there that could have done it. He is the only one who has a key to this house. Also, I'm not sure if this was relevant in any way, but the house he lived in used to be a church. Wow. Well, that's a hell of an apport. I need a car. We'll see if I can apport that. I need a Ferrari. Hey, I'm just going to throw it out there. It might be possible. I also need millions of dollars. Oh, my God. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with apports, those are basically gifts from spirits. And usually they take the form of little cute objects, maybe stones, maybe pretty rocks, maybe dimes. A lot of people experience dimes. And they're just these things that seem to appear. They can sometimes be bigger, but generally they're just these little items that you notice and don't know how they got there. And so they're called apports, APPORTS. And then if you're missing something, those are called deports, which I get a kick out of every time. Deport. Don't deport me. But a whole water heater? I've never heard of anything like that. I would love, if any of you have ever heard of anything like that, let me know in the comments of this video or in the chat. I've never heard of something like that, but that is absolutely epic, if that indeed is the way it happened. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot validate any of these stories. I'm just finding them and bringing them to you because I think they're great to discuss and they're great to illuminate a lot of different paranormal phenomena. So, but very cool. That's a hell of an apport. That's amazing. And I guess the dad now knows what a water heater is. So that's always a good thing. All right, the next one is from 2007 out of the great and amazing state of Minnesota. That's my old stomping grounds. Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. I am a native Minnesotan. Or Minnesotan, where we get in the boat. Don't you know? You betcha. We really don't talk like that, by the way. We talk just like I talk, but everybody, like you see that movie Fargo? It's like, oh my God. Oh yeah, don't you know? I have met some people in Minnesota that talk like that, but that is definitely not the rule. That's the exception, and I think it's possibly some bleed through from Norwegian settlers from back in the day, native Norwegians who emigrated over and they populated a lot of what is now Minnesota because they felt like it was very similar to Norway, is what I understand. And so I think it's just a relic of their forebears speaking Norwegian rather than English. So I don't know. It's just very cool, though. It's very distinct for that area. But again, it's not the norm. It's still a bit of an oddity, but it's cute. So let's read the story. I moved into a new house because my dad was laid off, and I got an old 2-story house, and I had a basement room that was old and smelled like mildew. Boy, do I remember those kind of basements. I was packing my things in, and I kept hearing these knockings on the wall, and I told my dad, but he said it was old pipes. And one day, I told my brother Mike to come down and listen to it, and He listened and said it was pipes. This one sounds familiar, but I may have read it, but not read it on the show. I responded, "It isn't pipes, you clown," and he shoved me. He didn't use the word clown, but I just thought in order to keep it politically correct, I was going to change that for you guys to make the show listener friendly. And he shoved me, and I fell through the closet and knocked the metal model of a Honda Civic through the back. It was fake. So me and Mike took it off and walked in. It was a staircase. And we got flashlights, and we walked down and opened an old wood door, and it was a room with old storage items in it. We walked over, and then the door behind us closed. I know I've read this one before, but I'm going to finish it anyway because it's a good story. A huge blur of white came right at us, screaming in a horrid tone. And we were in absolute terror, and we ran up and told my dad, and he came down and looked at it and walked down, and right as he was opening the old wood door, the doorknob started to rumble and shake. He ran up the stairs, and the next day we moved out. This is the first time I've ever spoken of this and have tried to forget it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It certainly could be, but I don't know. An old hidden room. It's kind of a Hollywood thing. It sounds like, but hidden rooms can happen. There's many new homeowners that are finding old things in their houses. But I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there for you. But yeah, I know we've read that one before somewhere down the line. And that's the tough part about these things is, these kind of stories are repeated over many different sites. And, it's only a matter of time before we end up hitting the same stories. All right. Now, this one is from California from 2007. We lived in a very old and big house back when we were young. Young as I was in preschool and my eldest sibling was in about the 4th grade. And my siblings and I loved to wear my mother's pink high heels. Whenever I wore it, I'd pretend I was a famous tap dancer because the pumps made a beautiful clink sound against our hardwood flooring. Or at least it was beautiful in our ears at the time. My mother, of course, thought it was the most annoying and often scolds at me to stop many times a day. My siblings and I took turns wearing those pink pumps around the house, anywhere that would make a clink-clunk noise. One day, my brother wore the pumps up and down the stairs, and he wanted to show us that he had mad skills and was able to walk without tripping on the steps. After going up and down several times, he took off the shoes and left it at the top of the stairs and then ran down. My sister took a try coming down and then up and then down again, and she left the pumps at the bottom of the steps. When my turn came, I was able only to walk with the shoes up the stairs until I heard my mom yelling from the kitchen for us to not play with her shoes because we were going to trip and crack our heads falling down the steps. So I left the shoes on the top of the stairs and ran down to join the others. The 3 of us were watching TV in the den, and while my mom was still in the kitchen cooking away, then suddenly we heard clunking sound coming from the top of the stairs. The noise came closer, and we all went over to the stairs to check, and it was my mom's pink pumps. They were on the bottom of the steps. I know for sure they were on the top of the steps when I left them. We were all really puzzled. We went back to the den. A couple of minutes later, we heard the noise again, so we all ran back to the steps and found the pink pumps going up and down the stairs all by itself. It's as if an invisible person was doing it. I was so shocked, even for a little kid. I stood there looking at the shoes in amazement. My mom yelled from the kitchen, telling us to knock it off, and we screamed and hid behind my mom. We told her what had happened. When she went to check, the shoes stopped moving. I hate it when ghosts play tricks on little kids and have no effect on adults. Oh, it's all in the shoes, form over function. That's what I've heard. The next one. This one's kind of a short one, and then this one is also not too long. So I got 3 more stories for you guys before we're done here, before I will opened the doors. All right, and this is 2007 out of Texas. I've lived in my current residence for a little over 6 years now. It's a small, costly yellow brick house. It has a rather large backyard, and the first night I stayed there, I had strange dreams about a young girl. She was no younger than at least 6. I only had these terrifying dreams for a day or two, but much stranger things began to happen in my conscious world that soon terrified me. I'm a person who loves to sing. So on a sunny day, home alone, doing some chores, I start to sing aloud to myself, and I'm walking around the house singing while I'm doing things like laundry and other things. And after a while, I start humming, and then I completely stop singing. No more than 5 minutes after I stopped, I started to hear the same song I was singing faintly in my attic. Oh, creepy. I stopped what I was doing and started to listen. The voice was much higher than mine, so I could tell she was a little girl. The song started to get louder. I started to freak, and then I remembered the girl in my dreams. Remembering what my stepfather had told me about spirits, I reacted. He believed that if you told them to go calmly and unafraid, they would for compelled to leave you. They would be compelled to leave you. I started to think and say aloud, "Leave me, you are not wanted here." Soon the voice got fainter, and the song faded from the house. Still to this day, occasionally, when I'm alone, I'll sing to myself. No voice is heard, no song of innocence. The girl had left my home, but resided in my mind from then on. Well, that is true. I mean, I was just having a discussion tonight about that. About just claiming your space. I'm of the opinion that I don't mind if things are around. It's not my world. I don't own this world. We don't really own anything, right? We're just here. We believe we own things, but you came in naked, you're going to leave naked. But so in my opinion, I don't mind if there's things around, but I do mind whether or not they are malicious. I mind if they're a dark thing. I don't mind if they're a light thing, and if they're loving and kind and warm and just want to be present because it feels comfortable to them. That to me is a compliment. So, but it is important if you're experiencing things to just say, look, I appreciate that you're here. However, if you are dark and malicious or mean to cause harm or cause problems in my house, you are not welcome. You must leave. This is not where you belong. You must leave. But if you are loving and kind and wish to be here in the spirit of love and family and togetherness, then you may stay. But here is my expectations, and let them know, like, don't scare kids, don't steal my stuff, don't move things. Lay down your expectations, So having a dialogue a lot of times with these entities, it's twofold, because again, most entities were, many of what we experience were at one time people. Not all of them. Many of them weren't. But for the ones that were people, most people you meet don't want to cause problems. They don't want to raise hell and create problems and be little bastards to everybody. They don't want to cause issues. They just want to be acknowledged, to be respected, to be, somewhere where they feel welcome. And so I think if you have that dialogue with them, you are affirming their presence, meaning that you're recognizing that you notice they're there, which can mean a lot to them because, for some of these beings, it may be really frustrating to be in this state and not be able to communicate, not to be able to talk, not to be able to participate with people, and just seeing things going by you all the time and nothing acknowledging you're there. So if you acknowledge that they're there, that is affirming for the spirit. And if if they are indeed decent and kind and nice, they're going to respect your wishes because they don't want to cause problems. They don't want things to be unhappy. Now, there is the chance that you might meet one that does, and then you have to be committed to seeing it through. Because if you tell them, look, I'm going to if you're not kind and welcome and you need to leave. And if they don't leave, you have to make them leave, because you don't need to engage in a battle of wills with something that's dark. I know a lot of people in the paranormal enthusiasts are really fascinated by the dark things. And I am somebody that's dealt with something horribly dark for a very long period of time. And I can tell you, there is nothing you want about that. There is nothing romantic or attractive or good about it. It is a horrible thing. When you're dealing with something that is just evil, that is just hate, that is just angry, there's no reasoning. There's no negotiating. It just wants to destroy. It just wants to tear down anything that it can, because it's so full of hate and anger. So you can't play with the dark things. You can't you can't mess with them, because you're going to be in a world of trouble for a long time if you come out of it at all. And I mean that sincerely. There are things that are that dangerous. So don't ever play with the dark things. Don't ever flex and be, that you're more powerful, or you want to have a battle of wills, because these things have nothing but time. They have nothing but time, and they will spend years, decades, whatever it takes to wear you down. So definitely get help if you're dealing with something dark like that. You need it out of your house. Get it out. See it through. Talk to religious figures. Talk to shamans. Talk to spiritualists, mediums, whatever you can do. But make sure to make those connections and get them out. And if you have trouble with it, let us know, because we have several people that are absolutely willing to assist and to help you. But don't play with darkness. There's nothing good in it. I promise. All right, so the next one. This one comes out of 2007 out of the state of Alaska. Most people who read this, don't do me the fluffy stuff. Every night when I get into my bedroom to sleep, which I never really get a chance to do, I'll always find something that I keep on the top shelf sitting in the middle of my bed. After I put it away, lay down, I'll start hearing what sounds like whispers. I can never really tell what they're saying, but every now and again, I hear my name, and like a group of people are talking about me or something, and I have a habit of lifting my head slightly and opening my eyes a little just to check and make sure that nobody's standing there. And I'll always see 4 shadowed figures at the end of my bed staring at me. If I try to open my eyes all the way and stare at them head on, they disappear. So I've learned to watch them out of the corner of my eye. They continue speaking and looking at me like they're trying to decide what to do. At this point, I usually get a really bad feeling that whatever they decide, it isn't going to be in my best interest. But I make myself lay there and wait, thinking every night maybe something will change. When they seem to make up their mind, the one standing directly opposite to me will reach out and grab my ankles, and yes, I can feel their hands gripping me, and then I feel the shadow start to pull me down the bed towards it, and then another shadow figure who I can never notice beforehand, no matter how hard I try, suddenly will lean over me and start to whisper angrily at them. They always let me go, and they always disappear after that. If anybody has any idea what I should do, whatever these things might be, please let me know, because it's starting to drive me a little nuts. Other things happen after that, like footsteps and hisses, and it has gotten to the point where I've started trying to sleep in my parents' room with my mom the first half of the night just to get some sleep. Well, that's really strange. I don't know. The activity sounds residual, but there is a contact, and he does hear his name. So I don't know. That's a really curious one. But why would they have the same dialogue over and over and over, and the same events over and over and over? That doesn't make sense to me. This one is pretty curious to me. I don't know what to think of it, ladies and gentlemen, because a repeated action would seem to be residual, which is just an imprint. It's just an energy imprint. But what this person has experienced is a murmured dialogue, and he can make out his name being mentioned, and it's four figures, and they stand there, and then the same thing every night. One of them will decide what to do, reach, grab him, and start pulling him down, and then another one appears and leans over him and like yells at the other ones to knock it off, and then they disappear. So what the hell's going on there? I don't know. That's very, very weird. Very strange. But this is the portal, ladies and gentlemen, where strange things abound. All right, one more tonight, ladies and gentlemen. One more story, just because I love you guys so much. All right. This one comes from Texas, and this is 2007 as well. It's a popular year tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I was about 12 years old or so, and I'd spent the night at my mom's. I lived with my grandma, but I go to my mom's when it's the weekend, and everyone in the house was asleep, and I was sleeping in the living room, and it was dark. Not that dark, because the light was on in the kitchen, but I woke up around 5 a.m., and I heard a voice, and it told me to leave the house, and it sounded like it was right next to me. I was so scared that I stayed up until I fell asleep again. I stayed up until I fell asleep again. Okay, I think we all do. Then I heard footsteps on the floor, and I looked, and I thought it was my stepdad going to the restroom, but instead of going to the restroom, it was going after me. I shouted my mother's name, and the shadow disappeared, and my mom came running into the living room, and I told her about it, and she just said that we would talk about it in the morning. We both went to sleep, and in the morning, my mother told me the house was haunted. Oh, really? Oh, really? I never would have known that, Mom. Thanks. Thanks a lot. What? It's haunted, really? That explains that shadow. Clearly it's haunted. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our bedtime stories for tonight. I hope you're feeling all snugly and tucked in and ready to meet again tomorrow. But thank you to all of you who are in here and joining us on this fine evening. Again, we will be back tomorrow night for our Paranormal Portal New Year's Eve extravaganza, and that will be starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time until midnight Pacific time. So again, when we start, it'll be New Year's in New York, and when we end, it'll be New Year's in LA. So we're covering the continental U.S. this New Year's Eve. So I hope you guys will definitely come back and be a part of that. But if you have plans, I understand. It is New Year's Eve after all. I don't expect a really full house. But then again, maybe you guys just love the portal that much. But I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. And to those of our family who have been suffering from the bugs that are going around like the flus and stuff, get better. Hope you feel better soon. We definitely miss having you guys around. So we're looking forward to seeing you all again. But we will be back again tomorrow. So until then, if you have a story of your own that you'd like to share, please email it to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. If you haven't already, if you're listening to this, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe. And then click the bell, because then you will get notified whenever we do the magic that it is that we do here on the portal. So, but I just thank you guys so much for watching the video and being a part of it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night. So be good and sweet dreams.